Hello everyone, my name is Murutura Enoch and we are going to revise together PH 110, the question under vectors, and the question reads, given that the three vectors A, B and C act at one point in space, find the resultant vector. So one thing that you should bear in mind is that whenever you are finding the resultant vector acting on one point, so what you are going to do is that you are going to add, so resultant vector is equals to vector A x plus vector B y j plus vector C z k. So from there what you are going to do is that you are going to get each value, the coefficient of I, adding with the coefficient of I in B, also in what? In C. So resultant vector is equals to, you are having the coefficient of I in vector A to B 2 plus negative 4, the coefficient of I there, plus negative 1, the coefficient of what? Of I there. So after adding, you put them in bracket, you write I there, indicating the vector. The second thing is that you get the coefficient of J in each vector A, B and C. So at A we are having what? We are having 3, adding it with another 3. So and then at C we have positive 4. So plus what? Plus 4. We close the bracket, you indicate J plus what? Plus the values of what? Coefficient of each vector A, B and C. So for the vector A, the coefficient of K is negative 2. So negative 2 there, plus positive 7, plus what? Plus positive 9 there to the vector C, plus what? 9. Then you indicate K there. So from there, your resultant vector will be the addition of everything, the values of what? Of those values of I, coefficient of I in X, and the addition of values in the addition, you add everything there, also there. So after adding, you're going to obtain, so when you add there, you're getting negative 3 I plus, so when you add the 3 plus the 3, that is 6, plus 4, that is 10 J. And then when you add negative 2 there, when you add the negative 2 plus 7 plus 9, you are getting positive 14 K. So this is the resultant vector. So this is our final answer, what? For A, where they told us to calculate the what? The resultant vector. And then the second, question they are saying, we find the magnitude of the resultant vector. So magnitude of the resultant vector is equals to square root of x plus y square plus z squared there. You just replace the coefficient of these things. So magnitude of the resultant vector, that is the coefficient of I, that is x, which is negative 3 square plus 10 square plus what? Plus 14 square. And then after that you are going to compute everything on the calculator and write the final answer. So when you square root everything and then you add, you are going to get the square root of 305. So the square root of 305, square root of 305, so you are getting 17.5. when you round it off. That's the final answer. You just write unit there. So that is the final answer. So we go to number 3, where they are saying we find the unit vector of the resultant. So what you should bear in mind is that unit vector of the resultant is equals to what? The vector itself, that is R, over the what? The magnitude vector. So from there, unit vector is equals to the what? The vector itself, the one that we calculated, which is negative 3i plus 10j plus 14k. You divide it by what? By the resultant. What is the resultant? That is 17.5. So this is the final answer. So if you want, you can simplify it, but that is the final answer. That is how you are supposed to do. So we move on to number 4, where they are saying the direction of the resultant with respect to x. So what you should know is this direction, you find it using tan. So tan theta is equals to r y over r x. So from there you're going to say theta is equals to, when that tan crosses the equal sign, it becomes tan inverse. So tan inverse of ry. So the values for ry there, look, so this 10j represents what? For y. So that is 10. That is our ry. So 10 divide what? Divide rx. Rx, that is negative 3. So you're going to just write 3, omitting the what? The negative. So if you punch everything on the calculator there, you're going to find the value of theta to be, so the value of theta, that is 73.3 degrees. So that is the direction. So theta in physics represents the what? The direction. So we move on to the last question, where they are saying given that vector a, b and c, find the scalar triple vector a dot bx, the triple vector. So one thing that you should bear in mind is this. So we're going to write a dot b times c. Now if you look carefully, so b times x, that is the perpendicular vector, which is supposed to be calculated using the magnitude method. So from there we have vector B to be negative 4I plus 3j plus 7k, and then C to be negative I plus 4j plus what, 9k. So you are going to calculate the value of B times C using determinant method. So I, J, K, and then you just replace the what, the values for each. That is the coefficient negative 4, 3, 7, and then negative 1, 4, and then there is 9. So make sure that this J is negative, so it's positive, negative, positive, and then you start calculating. So one thing that you should bear in mind is that we are going to start with this column there. So what you are going to do is that you cover this part and then you write the matrix that you have remained with. So you have remained with 3, 7, 4, 9 times what, I plus open brackets there. So there you are now reaching on J. So if you cover J there, you are going to remain with the negative 4, negative 1, and 7 and 9. So you are going to write negative 4, negative 1, 7 and 9. Now this J is negative, don't forget, negative J plus. So there you come to K. So you cover this part, you are remaining with negative 4, 3, 4 and negative 1. So negative 4, negative 1, 3, 4 times what, K. So from there what you are going to do is that, you see, 3 times what, 3 times 9, subtract 4 times what, K, 4 times 7, sorry, that is I, and then there, that is positive times negative, that is negative. So negative 4 times what, 9 minus negative 1 times what, 7, that is J plus you are having what, negative 4 times 4 minus negative 1 times 3, that is K, and then you just simplify. So when you just simplify everything there, you're going to get, so if you compute everything on the calculator, you're going to obtain that perpendicular vector of B cross C. So now we can calculate A dot B cross C. So you know what dot means, you just get the coefficient and add them. So vector A, we are having vector A to be 2I plus 3j minus 2k. So from there just get the coefficient, that is 2 times negative 1 plus 3 times what, negative 29, 3 times negative 29, and then plus negative 2 times what, negative 13, and then you just add everything there. So from there, if you compute everything, you're going to get negative 63 as your scalar dot product. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe, so that anytime I post everything you are able to see. See you in the next lesson.